So we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. My name is Brianne. I am 21 Acres Administrative Assistant, and welcome to our virtual green building tour. We're very excited that you could join us today, and we saw that we had people sign up from all over the world, which is so exciting. Thank you so much for connecting with us in Woodinville. Washington. So we've got a really great event here today, and for folks catching up on YouTube, really excited that you could join us as well. We are here today with Kelly Rankich, our facilities manager and lead green associate. Congratulations again on that certification.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're also here with Chris Paulson, our facilities technician and overall lifesaver for every team we have at 21 Acres, who will be filming Kelly today. 21 Acres is a living laboratory which serves to educate our communities around climate change and how to participate in climate action by promoting and building resilient food systems that are rooted in agroecology, also through regenerative farming, sustainable land stewardship, and adopting sustainable living and building practices, which you will see today. 21 Acres is located in Woodinville, Washington, and I'd like to give a land acknowledgement to the land we're on. We are on the ancestral lands of Indigenous nations, including the Stillaguamish tribe, who are a part of the larger Duwamish and Coast Salish peoples. We acknowledge these nations and these people as the original stewards of this land and honor both the land itself and the Duwamish and Coast Salish people, past and present. They are thriving today still. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Kelly, our tour guide, to introduce herself a bit more, and then we'll jump into the event. All right.
Great. Thank you, Rianne. I appreciate it. Rianne is a good teammate, so we'll be tag teaming a little bit on this tour today. So again, my name is Kelly Rankich. I am the facility manager here at 21 Acres and work closely with Chris here as my facilities technician. He and I both started here about 2 years ago, so we're a little bit new to 21 Acres, and we have had a lot to learn, and we've spent a lot of our time just trying to make things stop leaking and stop beeping around here. So welcome everyone, and if you're from the Pacific Northwest, this is an amazing day, so thank you for taking time out of it to join us here at 21 Acres. So my background, my education is in environmental engineering, and my emphasis was air quality. And then my career ended up being in remediation, which was cleaning up contaminated soil and groundwater. And it wasn't really working for me. So about 3 years ago, I decided to completely shift my life and devote myself to the world of sustainable living. And so here I'm at 21 Acres. So it's the point being that I'm a little new. I have a lot to learn. I'm still learning every day. And I really, really encourage your questions. And I will do my best to answer them, but sometimes I might just have to follow up with you and do a little bit of research myself, because even preparing for this tour today, I learned a lot. So bear with us a little bit. We're playing with technology and switching back and forth between cell towers and Wi-Fi, and we're going to do a little bit of screen sharing and try to share some resources with you as we go. And real quick, we are literally sitting on 21 acres. What we call the front three of the campus is where our 12,000 square foot LEED Platinum building is located. And then the back 18 acres is the location of production fields, our 4.5 acre wetland where we do a lot of wetland restoration work. We have a learning garden and goats. We're getting some pigs, and sometimes we have chickens. And we also have an apiary. We have beehives located throughout the back 18. I highly encourage you to come to one of our virtual farm tours. They are the last Saturday of the month. And if you have more interest in agroecology and regenerative practices, soil health, carbon sequestration, a lot of those topics are discussed during our farm tour. Okay. Oh, and I would love to hear if anyone wants to speak up right now about interests that you have on this particular tour. I had already made a decision to focus it on residential, kind of like the residential spin and things that we have here at our building, practices and technologies that you could use at home. And so I kind of the idea of someone who's a current homeowner, possibly doing a very light remodel is going to be my focus of the tour today. I noticed Erica was talking about, I wanted to ask you if you're willing to speak up about different points of view for sustainable building. If Erica, are you willing to speak up to what you were asking for? And if you don't feel comfortable, that's fine.
Sorry, me?
Yes, that would be, I would love to hear from you. I was curious.
I mean, I didn't know the 21 acres. I'm actually from UK, so it's late afternoon. But yeah, I was interested in the subject and very keen to see this green building and what you are on about and this kind of thing.
Thank you.
Okay.
From the UK.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, from UK, from London, actually.
Wow.
That's the great thing. We're sad that we can't have people in the building right now, but it's also opened up this whole world of people that can come to our virtual tours that wouldn't have been able to come in person. So it's kind of the silver lining of the pandemic here. And on that note, if there are other aspects of the building that you're interested in that I don't cover today, we have some wonderful virtual learning videos that are on our website. So if you wanted to learn more about our living roof or our composting toilets, things like that, that are less applicable to maybe what I'm going to talk about today, you can feel free to go to our website and check those out.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Erica. And so again, talking about our website, we have so many great resources on there. And one thing that we inspire action for climate change. And Rianne, if you don't mind screen sharing, you could show people on our website the Take Action, which is where people can go and if they're interested in agroecology or green building practices, they can look at different ways that they can help in this fight for change.
Yes.
And Rihanna, I believe you're going to talk a little bit about them too.
Yes, thank you, Kelly, for that. Great resources. Just again, we have on our website here, www.21acres.org, and under the Get Involved tag, there's the first option says Take Climate Action, and there are some really awesome, just a variety of ways that you can feel empowered to take action. I know it feels so daunting with the amount of people we need to take action, but the more we get in this fight, who are aware of all of their options, the better we all are. So there's all these different areas of green energy, agroecology, restoration, which this is our restoration specialist, Jess, and she says that restoration is likely the most available, immediate, and most largely impactful way we can start climate action is to get plants in the soil and restore habitats to their natural state. We got local food economies and other areas about climate justice and climate change. So definitely visit our website for more resources on how to get involved in these areas. And we'll send you some too through the Eventbrite follow-up.
Great. All right. Thank you, Rianne. Okay, so I am an engineer, which means that I love data. So the very first thing I want to show you is about energy monitoring. And it's what we have here is called eGauge. And I'll have Chris walk you over here to show you our monitor. And this is something that you can incorporate into your homes as well. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But our system here, the red indicates the energy that we are using. And the
we're kind of losing Kelly's voice. I don't know if you can hear me, but
indicates our solar power generation. So whenever we're generating more solar, then switch to sorry guys,
I think you got it. Did you switch to Wi-Fi?
I just switched to Wi-Fi just now.
Okay. Thank you. Sounds better.
Better.
Kind of. It goes in and out. Why don't you just go for it? Sorry about that.
No, thank you for letting me know. So I'm not sure how much you lost, but okay. I'll repeat a little bit. The red line is our electrical use within the building, and the green is shaded area. That means we are generating more electricity than we are using. I'm here, and we can select we can select various systems and try to figure out like if there's any issues going on right now. So let me find, oh, we're not using our, well, you know, it's a little bit harder in the summer because our energy use is not the same as in the winter when, I'm sorry, you guys, I should have found a good, well, so example, this is our elevator use. So these little peaks right here are every time someone uses our elevator. And so we use this as a tool for behavior change. So once people, our employees started seeing how much energy our elevators are using, even though they're highly efficient, people started taking the stairs a little bit more. We also have a dishwasher. And I used this tool. I'm not sure you're gonna be able to see this. I used this tool to kind of get an idea of how much energy our dishwasher was using in different ways that I could operate it, whether I left it on all day to keep the heat or I opened it and turned it off. I was able to take all of this data and figure out the best ways to optimize our dishwasher use. I'm going to show you. Can you hear me okay, Rianne?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I also,
so this is our 1 week view. Go ahead, Rianne.
I was just gonna say, I also love the cost savings portion of it too. You can track
up here
in real time.
Yes. Yep. And it's fun in the summer to see all this green. So we have what's called the net metering program. So the energy that we generate that's in excess of what we're using gets returned back to the grid. So we don't have a battery system here. Net metering is a common way that utility companies manage their solar programs. And you can also get incentives right now, federal incentives for installing solar panels. And in a minute, we'll go outside and take a look at our solar panels. We're going to show you, Chris, can I walk over to we have a little home energy monitoring setup over here. This is something that you can easily purchase for around $20. This is called a Belkin watt meter. Actually, Rianne, why don't you pull up the appliances screen share really quick so I can talk really quick about power versus energy.
Yes, sounds good. Let me get that up. Okay, should be up now. So the appliance cost fact sheet. Wow, there are so many fascinating just statistics here for homeowners to consider.
Yeah. So we're gonna Rianne will follow up with an email, and we're gonna send you a few resources, including this what you're seeing on your screen right now. I'm not sure if people are aware of how you talk about power versus energy. So power is measured, for example, in watts. So this lamp right now is well, I guess you're gonna have to, well, okay. So power measured in watts, and that's kind of like an instantaneous, like you could be driving at 60 miles an hour, but you have to like consider length of time as well. So when you talk about your energy use, it's always in kilowatt hours multiplied by the hours that you use that source, showing our Belkin. So this is the cost of electricity, so you can modify it for where you live. But this tells you over the course of a year what this one device that you have plugged into it would cost you. And then it also shows you your global greenhouse gas emissions.
Wow. So,
and you go ahead.
And how many, do you know how many appliances that can be hooked up to the Belkin? Is it?
Well, this is a single use one here. So, you know, you probably, if you buy something like this for $20, you would use it to figure out, you know, things that you could plug in. And you would just kind of move it around your house and get a feel for what things we're using. There's also whole house monitoring devices. So you can buy these. Their systems are about $200 to $400 depending on what you need. It's a system where you install clamps. They're called CT clamps, actually in your electrical panel. And so the type of system that you purchase is very dependent on what your panel looks like. And you might have to hire someone to help you with it. And it depends on what your needs are. Like, what is it that you're actually trying to accomplish? But that's another, and there's ones that you can clamp every single circuit in your house. It just depends on how many you have and how much money you want to spend. And then there's systems that kind of learn. You just clamp it on one circuit and your whole circuit, and it learns like the pattern. So it can be like, oh, that is your furnace, and this is your dishwasher. And those are a little bit cheaper and easier to install. Are there any questions about energy monitoring or home residential energy monitoring?
Let me check
Not right now.
to the chat. Yes, if anybody is starting to have questions, do feel supported to share them in the chat, and I will siphon them to Kelly. And I guess while we're waiting, I just wanted to share again, I'm excited to send over all of these appliance resources for you. And I'm really curious to get some because my power bill is getting higher and higher recently. So I know something that we're doing is wrong. I don't know what it is. And I'm curious too about this balcony.
Yeah. Knowledge is power, right? The more you can learn about where it's gathering all this information, and then you can figure out what behavior changes, or maybe you need to upgrade an appliance, or you just figure out where your biggest uses are and make your house more energy efficient.
Okay.
So we're going to step outside briefly and show you our solar panel array and a few features that we have out here.
Beautiful day. Oh my gosh.
It's a perfect day. I'll let Chris maybe pan around a little bit, and you can see the gorgeous view we have. We're so lucky to be able to work here. It's just incredible.
And Chris, maybe if you wanted to do wide angle again, that would be cool. But also your camera just kind of froze. Thank you everyone for your patience as we sort through our connectivity issues. They kind of, oh, beautiful. Yes, love it.
Is it coming back?
Yep, it is back. We can see the
okay.
amazing terrace of the building and how it kind of feeds into the natural landscape. Oh my gosh, I love this part of the year for the farm and campus.
So that tree line that you saw back there was the start of the back 18 of our farm. And then we're, in the front 3 here. Maybe, can you see the panels from?
We can,
We have a 25 kilowatt array of solar panels on our roof. Again, solar panels are definitely something that you could install at your home. It's ideal to have them southern facing, and the angle of the roof is ideally the same as your latitude. So roughly for us around 47 degrees. Our panels provide about 45% of our electrical use during the summer and about 15% overall throughout the year. Our highest electrical use is our heat pumps for our building heating. And we also have the market and quite a bit of refrigeration. So we have a relatively higher than normal electrical use for a commercial building. And again, right now there is a federal tax incentive, tax credit for installing panels if you are in the US. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about passive solar. So there's a lot of thought that went into window placement here at 21 acres, which I realize is not something that you can do if you're already an existing homeowner. But there's a lot of work that can be done around just controlling the sun. I always call it window management at my house. So we have these are called solar shades that are on our windows right now. So we put these up in the summer to keep the building cool, and we take them down in the winter. So at home, you can obviously just use your drapes and your curtains or buy shades that help control your passive solar gain. And then we also use shading. So we have this overhang that in the summer, when the sun is at its peak and it's really warm, the shade goes all the way to the bottom of the windows that are in the kitchen, and it helps keep the building cool. And then in the winter, plenty of sunshine comes in through those windows. And Chris is working on this shade right now. We're going to get 3 or 4 of these triangular sunshades out here, and it's going to be a fun space. So then the other, go ahead. Do you have a question, Rhian, or a thought?
I do have a thought. If Chris could look again at the shadow of the window area, I just love how the harnessing of the sun's like geometry was really intentional through this design, because as you said, when the sun is high in the sky in the summer, the shade is immediately able to be cast lower, but when it's winter, the sun is lower, and we want all that warmth in the house. So because of the building tours, I'm actually experimenting at my house where there's an espalier, is that the right word? There's like a trellis on the edge of the building right here. Those like 3 little slits up there. So that can hold grapes or beans but I think it was intentionally designed for grapes. And I'm going to try this at my house because when you add those grapes, you're adding another layer of shade to where those 3 holes are that you can see on the building. And we're going to try this with beans at my house. I just want all the shade I can get because my room gets so hot. We're growing beans up the dang windows. And then in the winter, of course, they'll die so I can get the sun back again. I love pointing out that one just very creative green piece about the sun and the shading there.
Yeah, a little piece of 21 acres at home for you.
Yes.
Although we have been working on figuring out our plan for this trellis and getting some vines growing here. Maybe this summer.
To see some.
We're working on it.
Pumpkins even. That'd be crazy.
So the next thing I want to talk about is water. And the reason I want to talk about water is it's not just about conserving water as its own resource, but anytime you have to move water, you're also using quite a bit of energy and electricity. So whether it's pumping the water and treating the water that's coming into your house, or pumping it and treating the water that's leaving your house, water is definitely energy. And so we have a lot of energy and water saving features around campus here that I'll talk a little bit about, and try to talk a little bit about what you could do at home as well. Of course, low flow fixtures. So for your showers and your faucets, there are things that you can do. If you don't want to swap out your toilet, there are things that you can do to make it more water efficient. Here at 21 Acres, we have composting toilets, so very low water use, and we treat all of our water on site. So all of our gray water and black water is treated on site. And then if you look around a little bit, we have in the parking lot and underneath Chris's feet, we have permeable pavers. So this allows stormwater to filter back down into the ground. We have bioswales and rain gardens, and rain gardens are things that you can incorporate at home. And just landscaping in general is an area you could take out grass and put in rain gardens and pollinator gardens and help the pollinator species. I want to show you guys one more monitoring because I like data and it's related to water. It's on our screen in here. Does anyone have questions right now while I transition to the water monitoring?
I will scan the chat and I don't see
We're
any
gonna
yet.
do the screen here. Okay. So in relation to water, it's really important to keep an eye out for leaks or just understanding your system and where your water use is coming from. Let me get this going. So here in Woodinville, we are super lucky to have something called the Water Smart program. And I don't know how many other utilities are using something similar, but you could check in with yours. This allows us to track our water on a daily basis. I can set up for alerts as well. Like you can see right here, they're telling me that we might have a leak. And so I get texts on my phone.
It's a little blurry.
It's really slow. I'm sorry about that. Oh.
But it's,
if
Chris wants to zoom up a little bit, that'd be helpful.
I think, yeah, just get a little closer maybe, Chris.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so this shows our daily water use. And so what I do is I just look, if I know that there's nobody is using water or watering out on the farm, but I see that we're using gallons overnight, I start walking around the farm and texting people. And Chris and I spend a lot of time just trying to figure out where any leak might be. So this is just an amazing tool to be able to, and you can use it for your home as well. It's super helpful for irrigation because that's like a biggest source of potential leaks around here on campus.
This is amazing. I actually didn't know about this resource before.
Any
right now.
questions
Kelly?
about back and show you a leak? Let's see. Well, maybe not. Okay. But it does tell you it has this possible leak. And again, I have it set up. I can tell it how many gallons at what point to text me. And then I can just hop on my computer and Chris, I think this leak might be coming from. Going to move on. Talk a little bit about lighting, a little bit about windows. This is one of our event spaces. This one's called the Great Hall. We have high clear story windows that bring in a lot of natural lighting. We have sensors in here that monitor for occupancy, so they won't turn on the lights unless there's movement. And then it also senses for the actual amount of daylight in the building. So if there's people in the building, but there's enough daylight as of today, like it is right now, the lights don't come on at all. Rianne, can you show, I want to talk a little bit about R values in windows. Can you show the R value, window R value screen share?
And yes, let me get that up here. It's really helpful, I think, to have the image go along with what you're saying so we can conceptualize it. So thank you for providing this one. All right, it is up for you.
Yeah, so R values are the indication of the thermal resistance of a material. So it could be about a window or it could be about insulation or a wall. You can see on the chart the R values of the single pane, double pane, and triple pane windows. Sorry, I need to ask Chris what's going on. Oh, Rianne, did you lose Chris?
No, it was just kind of getting swirly and choppy, the image. So I sent him a little message like, are you on Wi-Fi? Just wondering.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay now that we're on screen share.
Okay, sorry everybody, thank you. So, and you can see the R value of a typical wall. And then what we have in here is something for our skylights are called Cal wall, well, I guess, skylights. And these are R20, which is off the charts compared to what a typical window or even a typical wall might be. So Rianne, you can come back to show the skylight here.
All right. Oops, maybe we did lose Chris. He's coming back. Oh, there he is. Okay. Great.
Okay, so this is an example of our skylights on R20, which is better than just even a typical wall, is quite amazing. So this is something that you can do at home as well, is start to look at your windows, and next time that you are thinking about a remodel, you can look at the R value of your window replacements and massive energy savings based on that. Are there any questions about R values or windows insulation?
Let's see. As we wait for any questions to come through the chat, I definitely wanted to know if there's strategies to placing these windows. Like it looks like these ones that are all on the top, they're specifically skylight windows, but are there R value, like good R values for windows, kind of like the lower ones that we see, the ones we can see outside of?
Yeah, that you want to be able to see through them. Yeah, I mean, I think that chart showed, triple pane windows are one of the, obviously on the high end of, so that gets up to, I think I've seen up to R4 for a triple pane window. Maybe you could get higher with glazing. Another thing to point out while we're in here is that what the solar shades look like from the inside. So on the outside, they're opaque and you can't see through them into the building, but look at how they look once you're inside the building. There's one behind you too, Chris. Oh, well.
Oh, wow.
Does that show up, Rianne?
So you can There we go. You can see outside our big, beautiful trees. And the parking lot, yes. Wow.
Yeah, so they provide an immense protection from the solar heat in the summer without limiting the view entirely.
It's like having your windows tinted, but in a more energy efficient way.
Yeah. And not permanent, so we can take them down in the winter when we want the solar gain. Okay, we are gonna head to our kitchen.
And I thought now would be a good time to say we're at 11:32, so just under 30 minutes left.
Okay, thank you, Rhiann.
Yeah. Also, we're really glad everyone could join today. Thank you again. Oh, there's Hillary. Hi, Hillary.
That's our volunteer coordinator.
Welcome. And for folks all over the world.
We can't wait to start having people.
Oh, yeah, we cannot wait for people to come back and volunteer with Hillary and the rest of the group. Oh my gosh. We're looking forward to summer work parties for local folks, or if you want to take a vacation.
It's been hard to have the campus closed. It's just so different. So we're standing in our kitchen space right now. This is a learning kitchen. Processors and producers can use it for value-added products. All of our appliances or most of them are Energy Star rated, and this is definitely something that you can do at home as well, is swap out your appliances as you can for Energy Star rated appliances. Chris is going to zoom in on that. And there's also incentives and rebates quite often offered from your local utilities, especially if you're upgrading. I'm noticing I'm doing my own green building right now. I'm building my own home. And a lot of the rebates and incentives are for upgrades and remodels. So there are less of them available for new built homes. And I want to talk about our bamboo, or our paper stone counter here. This is a product that's made out of hazelnut and recycled paper. It's offered by Green Home Solutions, which is if you're doing any remodeling, we highly recommend checking out Green Home Solutions in Seattle if you are local. And it comes in all sorts of different colors, which are shown here. This is just a really great product. Super easy to work with and cut. And then down below, we have bamboo paneling. Bamboo is a renewable resource, and it's a great material for sequestering carbon.
And the more you support these kinds of products, the more you support bamboo appliances, bamboo textiles in general, you're actually supporting more carbon sequestering. So your dollar really does help in that fight, in that regard of just like purchasing equals incentive to grow more bamboo. And it's going to grow regardless. So we might as well use it.
Yeah, practically a weed.
It is.
Or maybe it is considered a weed. Yeah.
Strong weed.
The other thing I want to point out in the kitchen here is I really like induction cooking, and I feel like a lot of people aren't familiar with it yet. So I wanted to kind of do a quick little spiel about it. So right now I just put on the counter here one of our induction burners. I did this for myself at home. I just bought a 2-burner induction, put it on my stove, and I just keep it there. And that's my primary source of cooking now. It does require special pans. They have to be able to be, you don't lose the magnet is spinning in the induction burner, and it's heating up the pan, and you're not transferring heat from a combustion source to a pan. And it can boil water practically instantaneously. It's a phenomenal way to cook. The only hard part is that you don't have time to prep your vegetables while you're heating the oil. Like you have to change kind of the way that you do things, because if you turn the pan on and you put your oil in and you go to prep your food, your pan's gotten too hot. So you got to learn. But I highly recommend experimenting with induction cooking. Anything that we can do to electrify the building, and with then using renewable energy, we're aiming to do here and try to keep any combustibles out of the building, which is good for indoor air quality as well. And again, we promote locally sourced food here. The typical US dinner plate, the food has traveled 1,500 miles before, like in general, all together in aggregate, before it gets on your plate. So the more that you can do to shop at your local farmers markets and support local farms, there's just so much less transportation and energy to get the food to you. So we also encourage you to come shop at our market if you're local. We're open 4 days a week right now. We would hope to be able to walk you through there, but between our Wi-Fi and our cell signals not working as well as we'd like, we thought we would lose connection. But our farmers market downstairs has locally sourced produce. It has cheese, dairy, eggs, meat, all sorts of grains. And we highly encourage you to stop by if you can. Okay, any questions at this point?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
We got a question from Christine. They're wondering what type of flooring is in the building, and because it does have a pretty cool story to it too, I believe.
Oh, this is called polished concrete. Do you know a story that I don't know, Rianne?
Possibly, maybe not. That it was somehow salvaged, somehow like salvaged concrete, or is concrete itself kind of already always salvaged? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I haven't heard. You know, I don't actually, I'll have to look into that. I haven't heard anything different about our floors. So that's a great question though. But I do know, yeah, really all I know is that they're called polished concrete. Sorry, but we can definitely look into that a bit more.
I do think that concrete has an ability to stay somewhat cooler too.
Yeah.
Through the building. So if you wanted to have a place that's cooler or easier to install, we have iridescent heating through the floors?
Radiant. We have radiant floor heating. Yeah. And yes, the concrete helps. It's like a heat sink. So in the warm days, it'll absorb the heat and it'll keep the building cool. And then at night, it will release that and help keep the building warm. So it kind of can go back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a ground source heat pump and radiant floor heating that provides the heat for our building. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I wanted to also talk briefly while we're in the kitchen here about food waste. So we are very focused on limiting food waste. And so when we have things in the market that don't sell at the end of the week, we have someone here that turns them into soup and other foods, and we sell them in our deli here. And the more that you can do to limit your food waste and in your purchasing and in how you cook and how you eat, the better sustainable lifestyle that will be for you. And on that note, I was going to really quickly point out our 4-bin process here for waste. So quite often you hear about 3 bins, but so of course we have landfill and recycling. And then we have a difference between what we call compostable containers and food scraps. So our food scraps, we compost on site in our compost bays, which are currently under construction. And then we have a separate one for compostable containers because these actually go off site to a facility that can handle things like bones, handle things like paper towels and compostable forks, things like that you can't handle in your own backyard composting. The facilities have a higher temperature, they can add microbes and they can break things down, and they can also treat the bacteria and things like that better than you can do in your own backyard. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to try to segue a little bit. So we have in our kitchen here one refrigerator that uses, actually it's a freezer that uses propane as its refrigerant. So Rianne, I wanted to talk briefly, and if you could show the ODP GWP screen share.
Yes. I also posed a question to the chat just to ask about what recycling and composting is like where people are, just to get a sense, because we have folks from all over the world, so it'd be cool to see in the meantime while we are talking about refrigerants, which are so important. Oh my
They
gosh.
are.
Okay, let me get that up for us. Should be all the way here for you.
Okay, I just realized I should have these in front of me so I could walk you through them a little bit better. But let's talk about, so ODP is ozone depletion potential, and it's on a scale of 0 to 1. And then GWP is global warming potential, which is on a scale of 0 to thousands. The global warming, or the GWP, is all relative to carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is given a 1, and anything that has a higher global warming potential will scale from that or lower. And so our freezer here is actually propane, which I think you can see on that chart right there.
Yes, propane is R290.
Yeah,
Natural.
and it's what, it's 0 for ODP,
0
right?
ODP, yeah.
Yes, and very low on the GWP. So our heating system, our heat pumps are basically kind of like reverse air conditioners. So our heat pumps use something called an HFC, which I think you can see on that chart there as well. So again, very low, or 0, I believe, ODP, a little higher on the GWP. But if it, CFCs and HCFCs have been phased out. But what I wanted to point out is what's coming out right now. It's very new. I'm using it for my own home. Is that you can actually get heat pumps that are CO2, which is amazing. So I mean, the whole scale for GWP is around what CO2 is, and CO2 is actually a new refrigerant that you can use. So I'm really excited. Yeah. So my house is going to have a heat pump that uses CO2, and it's going to do both the house heating and the hot water heating. So yeah, very exciting.
Oh my God, Kelly, I cannot wait to follow along with this process. I know you're going to write in our blog about this too. I definitely encourage folks to keep up with Kelly on this, because this is pretty revolutionary. I'm really excited for you.
I'm going to use every tip and trick in the book. So I don't know how many people are local, but we have something called Built Green certification here. Like, for example, our building right now is LEED certified. I'm going to go for Built Green certification for my home. And I'm going to go for the highest level, which is the 5-star. So I'm going to really, everything I've learned here, I'm going to apply. So I'm really excited about it.
Can't wait.
Let me check the time, because I want to talk a little bit about furnace filters. Yeah, okay. Again, it depends on if you're local or not, but boy, we had such a wildfire season here last year. And I was recently talking to the consultant for our ventilation system, and he said they're calling wildfire season the 5th season, because it's just such a different beast to try to manage. So we have these ginormous intake tubes for our ventilation system, which are just drawing in outside air. And then that outside air gets pulled through electrostatic filters. And these are great because they're washable. So you don't have to be wasting the filters that you're
we're losing you. Sorry,
you
everybody.
can just take these out, spray them off, and let them air dry, and then put them right back. Our concerns, if you live in an area with wildfire smoke, the rating, Leanne.
Hi, sorry, it's all catching up now. We lost you for a minute, but I believe you're just speaking about the washability of these filters, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay. Do you mind repeating yourself again? Sorry about that. I think.
Yeah, I just turned off Wi-Fi. Is this better?
Yeah, it sounds better. But I think when Chris gets close, it might, you guys' phones don't like each other.
They start talking.
I think so. We're getting to the bottom of it.
Okay. Yeah, washable filters keep the pleated filters out of the landfill. But if you are in an area where you're concerned about wildfire smoke, these I just looked online. These are a MERV 6. Oh, I was asking you to put the MERV rating up. Sorry, Rian. The little screen share for the MERV.
Yes, let me get that one up really quick.
Okay. So a typical residential home filters will be around 6, maybe 9. The highest rating I could find online for a washable filter is a 9. Is it up yet, Rian?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's fine. You can see on there where, let's see, it calls it wood burning, I believe.
Yes.
So you can see that you need about a MERV 11 to be able to handle and filter out the particulates that come from burning wood, which is our wildfire smoke season. And ideally for viruses and bacteria, they're actually recommending a MERV 13, and which is pretty high. The higher your MERV rating, the smaller, the finer the particulate that you're filtering out, but it's also straining your system. So your blower has to pull, your furnace blower has to pull air through a tighter media. And that can, 1, reduce your efficiency of your system, energy efficiency, and 2, you can actually damage your blower. So you really, before you upgrade your filters, you really have to understand your system and what it can pull. I'm working with someone right now. We're gonna take our boxes that hold our electrostatic filters, and we're probably gonna put like a filter fabric over them. And that's something that we can put up when we have an issue with the wildfire smoke, and then take down so that we don't permanently affect the efficiency of our entire system here in the building.
Awesome.
Any questions?
I will escape to see if we've got any questions here. This is such a helpful resource. I'm going to use this when I'm searching for filters. Thank you. Because the wildfire smoke was so bad.
Yeah.
No questions yet. And again, if you have them, shout them out. Or use the chat.
Okay. Again, we'd hope to take you kind of downstairs or outside, but we're just having some technical issues with that. So the other things that our campus has have like features around here that you could incorporate in your homes, our electric vehicle charging stations. And of course, if you're going to have an electric vehicle, our downstairs, we have this amazing event space. I wish I could show it to you. We have a library with just tons of resources that are free for the public that are local. And of course, we were hoping to be able to walk you through our market. But when we're open again, we hosted Zumba events. You know, we want to promote healthy lifestyles and healthy living. And we had yoga, and we support like-minded organizations. So we would host meetings for other organizations that aligned with our mission and our principles and our goals downstairs. So I wanted to put up a little poll. Rianne, can you put the poll up and we can see if we can get some participation?
I can. Let us go to number 2 here. All right. So the poll is up and we are asking a question for you all. What is one action you are currently not taking that you feel that you can incorporate into your life when it comes to being more efficient or climate action? We've got a bunch of different options here. So if folks are able to, can you all see the poll? And yeah, if you want to take a minute to vote, we would greatly appreciate it. We've got some answers coming in. Awesome. And I know that a couple of us are actually, like Kelly's one of the participants who's talking, Chris is one of the participants who's filming. So I think we got all of our answers.
I'm going to vote.
You're going to vote? Yes, yes.
I'm going to try to vote.
I know, I wish I could vote too.
What am I not currently doing? Let me see. I think I need to swap out I need to swap out a shower fixture at home.
Me too. I was just
That's what I'm going to do. Okay, there, I have voted.
Great. So I think that's everyone. Here's the results I'm going to share with everybody. Thank you for voting. And we've got all these different answers. So as Kelly was mentioning, installing a water efficient fixture, me too. I know it takes a little bit of an investment, but with many tracking resources, you can see your influence or the influence that that new fixture will have on your savings over time. And I think it's worthwhile to definitely invest in one of those. We've got replacing an appliance with Energy Star rated appliances. Absolutely. This is again in line with just seeing how your cost savings over time and your resource savings over time really pair together for climate action. We've got a vote for 6, add more locally sourced food to your grocery purchases. Yes, supporting local food economies, supporting farmers that are trying to grow in your environment, in your community is great for your seasonality and nutritionally, pretty helpful for your body to kind of like regulate with the seasons, and probably tastes better because it's closer to you. No, but it is making a big impact. And then last vote was to perform energy monitoring. Yes! And we're going to send you
Awesome.
all of these resources too. Again, the ones that we've put up in the chat or put up screen share, we're going to send absolutely in a follow-up for Eventbrite. And also just more other resources for you to find out where to do these energy monitoring, where to buy these energy monitoring systems and like eGauge again and other accessible appliance monitoring systems. I'm rambling a little bit.
No, you're good. I appreciate that. Yeah. And one of our resources that we're going to send has a bunch of tips for making your home more energy and more water efficient. So all sorts of ideas. And I'll give you my little spiel about sustainability, because what I always say is to like figure out what your biggest bang for your buck is. Figure out what the lowest hanging fruit is. Don't feel like you have to do everything at once. Do what you can, and every little thing you do, you figure that out, you make that change, it becomes a habit and a routine and a part of your life, and then you do the next thing. So I've actually like literally journaled. I'll be like, okay, I started using reusable water bottles, and then I used, shopping bags, and I just kept building up the different changes that I wanted to incorporate into my life to make it more sustainable. And some of them take a lot more time and a lot more commitment, especially if you're busy raising children, and things can be a little bit challenging. So just don't put too much pressure on yourself and take it one day at a time.
Yes, absolutely. And to add to that too, it's any small thing that you can do, kind of just like anything in your day too. If you're not having a great day, or you're realizing that there's ways that you can change and make these sustainable changes, just starting with one small thing can really ripple into bigger things. Like for me, just emotionally, I found that when I made my bed, I felt so much better about my whole day. And just that really small action rippled into kind of like a conscious behavior pattern for me. And when I don't make my bed, I'm okay. It's all right. I'll just think about it next time.
Yeah, but you don't beat yourself up over it.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a movement that has so many different ways to contribute, and so many people are trying to learn more, and so many people don't have the opportunity to. So it's really just like what we can do, what we can control at that moment. And some of these things too, like in our building, I think they're so incredible. And I hope that really like high level institutions start to consider and have these strict building policies to like include, because they're kind of the people with money can influence these behaviors and these building patterns and source from these awesome retailers and contractors that make these products. So got to get those big folks to see stuff like this. And
Yeah.
this a little bit ties into a question we just had in the chat as we're in the last 5 minutes of the tour. I was wondering, or Christine, thank you again for a great question, was wondering if there's anything special in the wall application. Is this regular drywall and paint, or something that helps with energy efficiency? As you may have assumed, it is so efficient, very cool. And Kelly, would you like to talk about our walls?
Yeah, so I don't think we have time to go grab an example, but our walls are constructed out of a product called an insulated concrete form, or ICF. And ICF is 2 pieces of styrofoam, basically, or EPS. with some plastic in the middle that holds the rebar, and then the concrete is poured inside of that form. So our walls actually are made out of 2 layers. That's the insulation, is these 2 layers of styrofoam. And the styrofoam is high, I can't remember the percentage at the moment, but it's a high recycled content styrofoam. And then it greatly reduces the amount of concrete that was used in the construction of this building. And then the insulation protection from these ICFs is just phenomenal for the building. So yeah,
they're like diverting styrofoam from the land waste to use inside of our buildings that are, you know, all of the great stuff we love about styrofoam, its insulating properties are being put to use, kind of like Lego blocks, but filled with concrete. It's awesome.
I need to get the R value. I should have had the R value for our walls here. I'm sure it's off the charts. So I'll find that for the next time we talk about ICF. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, we're in the last 3 minutes of the tour. If you have any quick questions, we'd be glad to try to fill them in. But if you have more questions that are more involved, please do email us. You can reach out to generalinfo@21acres.org, and I will direct you to Kelly, our fantastic facilities manager, lead green associate. Kelly has been trained in the building, like probably one of the most progressive building codes, most efficient building code that you can test for. So we're really proud of her getting her lead green associate designation and certificate. So definitely reach out to us, and also follow up. To follow up for our following weeks, we have plenty of other education that ties into climate action. So anything that has to do with green living, sustainable farming or regenerative farming and agriculture, wetland spaces. We have a series of homesteaders who are absolutely incredible, and they teach you all these efficient ways to garden, farm, and raise animals, and anything else that goes into, you know, living off your own food. And then we'll also have a series with Dr. Sarah Sue Myers, a naturopathic doctor, kicking back up for the spring and the summer. So she's going to lead us around the farm spaces and other spaces in Bellingham, Washington, to learn about foraging and how to make medicines with the plants that are available. So all sustainable living, you know where to find us here at 21 Acres.
Amazing resource. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I really appreciate it. And again, if you missed out on an hour of this weather, I really thank you. So if you're local, and join us again and come back for a farm tour.
Yes, join us again. And thank you for all who joined us again. Christine, you're awesome. We're so glad you could be here. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.